Hey everybody, welcome back to Gray Area. My name's Alex Diaz, and today we have a DJ from Miami by the name of Alex. He's also Alex. Welcome, Alex. How you doing?
Good. You? Actually go by ALX.
ALX. Excuse me. Wasn't sure if it was pronounced or not.
Actually, I Spanish when I'm in Colombia and stuff like that. I just say Alex
Yeah.
because saying ALX in Spanish, even though I'm Cuban, is not an easy thing to do.
Right.
So I ALX. I tell them Alex. I feel like it's easier, even though it's spelled ALX.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah. So, but it's Alex. You got it.
For sure, for sure. So tell me a little bit about what your musical upbringing was like. Like, what were your parents listening to at home, and how that like contribute to who you are today as a musician?
Music upbringing was all Spanish.
Yeah.
All music, all the English came from my brother, who's 4 years older. He heard a lot of pop actually, but he's the one that got me into electronic music.
Yeah.
He's 4 years older. He was part of that '90s rave scene that was going on.
Yeah.
So I was hearing electronic music like at a young age, and then at first I was like, "What is this? Why am I hearing the same song like for 30 minutes?" And then little by little, I started getting into it. I started enjoying it. I started catching myself like going to all ages parties at Space and bouncing around clubs with electronic music and
Yeah.
listening to it. But I was always more of a rock head. I enjoyed more rock.
Interesting.
I enjoy Spanish. I enjoy all music basically. But my brother got me into electronic music.
When did you like make the transition from being like super into rock music to like being full on to into dance music? Like what was it that made that happen?
I must say I always heard both, and I just started partying and going to festivals and stuff. And then so I started slowly hearing both equally.
Yeah.
Amount the same. Obviously, I'm not gonna become a lead guitarist or a lead drummer for a band when I haven't spent my whole life practicing those sounds. I would have loved to have been a drummer, to
Right.
be honest. But I guess it just happened over time, little by little. And then I just had friends. I used to mess around with the DJ system, playing hip hop when I was in high school.
Yeah.
And some friends, when I got older, left the DJ system for like a week with electronic records and stuff.
Yeah.
And the rest is history. I just started messing around. First, it was for like fun, and then I just kept going with it. And then I don't know. Now here we are.
I love that story about like, just kind of like picking up DJing, like first trying hip hop, but then like being left with the a DJ setup overnight. Were they good decks or were they
Yeah,
shitty ones? That's good.
had all like updated like at the time the newest like CDJs. This is
Nice.
like 20 years ago, which were the 1000s.
Yeah.
I like the newer CDJs and a DJM. And it was friends of mine. It was actually of course my brother's involved. It was a birthday party. So
Yeah.
they had gone to DJ for his birthday. And then I knew already how to kind of work my way around the decks,
Right.
I used more vinyl when I was younger, but
Yeah.
CDJs. So they left it there, and I just started messing. When they took it, I was like, wait. So I just went and started buying my own equipment little by little, just messing around more until I started noticing you have to produce, not just DJ. So then I started just getting more and more into it as time went on.
Well, tell me about like your first gig as like a DJ. Do you remember what that was like? Those are always interesting stories.
I had a couple first gigs. One was like a Halloween party at a house.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, I'm still friends with the other DJ that played that party, which we didn't know each other at the time.
Interesting.
And girl just booked both of us, and we both liked electronic music. And half the party wanted electronic, the other half wanted different music, and we just kept looking at each other like, "I'm not playing that. I'm not playing that." So we just kept playing electronic music. We're actually still friends. So it's actually cool that we met that day, and we always remember that because that was his first gig and that was my first gig.
Oh, how funny.
And then it just started. Then I started little by little getting into like small clubs, playing small rooms, until I eventually got an opportunity at Nikki Beach, which at the time in Miami was like one of
That's a
the
big one.
best spots at the time.
Yeah.
And same people that ran the Nikki Beach Sundays had involvement with were the ones that ran Space Saturdays. So then I slowly started getting opportunities there to play Space Miami little by little until I built up into a residency.
Nice.
So
and
a lot of work.
a lot of work, man. And Space is like a super legendary venue. It's legendary for lots of things, but legendary for marathon sets most of all.
Yeah.
Can you tell me about your longest set at Space?
That I'm gonna say it was about 14 hours. Yeah, it was. I was a little bit delusional by the end of that one.
I bet.
Like 14 hours around there. I couldn't even I laid in bed. I couldn't even go to sleep because my brain was all scrambled from so many hours of going through music, and I tried not to drink much that day.
Yeah,
that would have been a bad idea.
I bet after 14 hours, man, that would have gotten a little sloppy towards the end.
Yeah, that would have been. I was exhausted.
How do you prepare for something like that? How do you prepare for a 14-hour set, or do you prepare for a 14-hour set?
I honestly, even now, early on in my career, I was very robotic when it came to sets, playlist, and kind of very set.
Yeah.
Now, show up to gigs I'm obviously searching for new music, downloading new music, and I just throw it in a folder that says music from this day, and it's just in there. And I hear the music a lot just to get an idea of the tracks. But for a long time, even then, I just plug in and just go with the flow, see what the crowd's feeling. I'm all about going up and down, the whole journey vibe.
Right.
So I just go with the flow. I don't really prepare much. Sometimes I should probably prepare a little more because I've got things. I'm like, what's the song that I liked?
You can't remember the name of it, right?
I can't remember the name of it. I'm like, this would be perfect right now. I'm like, where is it?
I know that feeling well, man. I know that feeling well. You just downloaded like 30 songs, and you know there was one in there, and you're like, which one was it? Which one was it? I guess I'll figure it out at some point.
Happens a lot. And then, but I tried to stay focused, but especially when you're traveling and you're going to all these new places, it was exhausting for me because it's like I wanted to explore. So it's like I wasn't really getting much sleep because I was like, I don't want to take a nap. No, I want to see where I'm at. I want to see Amsterdam. It's like I want to see Medellin, Colombia. I want to see these places. I don't want to just see the hotel room. So it was exhausting. And I didn't have time to really be listening to music a lot. So it's like trying to find that balance between concentrating on the music while also enjoying the experience of traveling.
Absolutely. Well, I mean, it's such a blessing that you get to travel so much. You got to DJ in some really dope places, including you said you're Cuban and you've actually DJed in Cuba, which is that's a unique thing in the DJ world. Not too many DJs from the US or from anywhere get to DJ in Cuba. What was that like? Can you tell me how you had made that happen, and then what it was like actually DJing there?
So my parents came in the Bay of Pigs in the 80s, early 80s.
Oh, wow.
They still hadn't gone back when I went to play. I was the first one out of me and my brother and my parents to actually go to Cuba. I was born in the US, but to go to Cuba. I went with my manager and a couple friends. And then the one that put that together was my friend, Chino Dreadline, who's on records and stuff like that. And of course I explored like crazy. I days there and we didn't stop. Funny story, first day we get there, my mom told me and my cousins had told me oh, you better hope they don't cut the water on you. I go, what are you talking about? I go, they cut the water. First night we're there after like a whole day of being out, traveling, flying in, and then not stopping and like seeing the city. We go shower at night and the water's like completely cut off. I'm like, oh, nice. Shower. I immediately call them. I was like, yeah, it happened.
Well, that's one of
But
those things, man. Yeah.
it was a surreal experience on multiple levels. I'm gonna say that's the most emotional I've been after a
Yeah.
gig. After the gig, I was very emotional, knowing that like that's where my family's from. Those are my
Right.
my roots. To be able to play in front of where I'm from, where my family's from, was very surreal. And I got to also explore the island, see where my parents grew up, my family grew up, the baseball parks there, which were famous, and
Yeah.
a lot of. Also saw how life is there, and I got home and I told mom and dad, "Thank you."
I bet. Like, I mean, you must have been so appreciative for the fact that your parents struggled so hard to get here. And then
uh,
after like actually being in the place where they were born, seeing how that is and like coming back here, you must have felt like such a huge sense of appreciation for them.
you really appreciate. I think we sometimes take for granted uh, this country, our situations, where we live, and we get mad and upset over little things. And little do you know, like we don't realize that if someone like they were like 90 miles away from where I'm at right now, give or take, like probably a little more. Like there's people that have no food, no water, like have no rights. So it's like you appreciate everything. I appreciated my parents taking the risk, coming to Bay of Pigs, coming to a country where they knew nobody, had nobody, and had started from scratch
Yeah.
and give me the opportunity to do everything that I want to do with my life. So it was very surreal, very emotional as well. It's
So
definitely their favorite shows of all time for me.
that's so beautiful. I love that you got to experience that in your life. And big ups to your parents for bringing you here, but also big ups for you to like being the first person to go back to their home country and experience that in your life and come back. That's
That
a
actually
huge deal.
they went a year later.
Oh, did they? So
Yeah,
they after you went, they actually went back for the first time ever.
yeah, and like they went after 40 years of being not going. They went back.
Wow.
I was like, I they basically went after I went. They were like, all right, we're gonna go. They asked me to go, and I was like, I've had enough emotions. But for I go, I can't handle. You guys haven't been there in 40 years. You grew up like you came here at like 21, 22. I can't handle that. That's too much for me. You're crazy.
Wow. Wow. So, tell me a little bit about you came up in like a really competitive scene in South Florida. Like the DJ, there's lots of DJs in South Florida, and
Oh
you
yeah.
came up and you like went through all the like the small venues. You did like the birthday party thing, and then you ended up playing at places like with residencies at places like Mansion and Space. Um, you know, what was it like after all of that time looking back on your history and playing at these iconic venues and then also getting to travel? Like, what do you say to people that are coming up right now?
Um, Most importantly, I would say work, network, and produce. Uh, Production's a big part of the game now, which back then in Miami it wasn't as big.
Right.
Now, yeah, Miami you could get your gigs, you get good gigs. It's become a lot of allegiance in Miami.
Yeah.
Uh, Back then as well, but I think now it's like reached like a whole other level of allegiance. Um, but I'm gonna say I was fortunate enough that my cousin was part of this industry for a long time.
Yeah.
He was close friends with Victor Calderon, did work with Victor for a bit, was working with the people who ran Space, Nikki Beach. But a lot of people say I was just giving it. I had to grind. Like every time they put me on the spot, they're like, "We're gonna put you to play. Like you better kill it because now we're not gonna put you again."
Yeah. Well, I
So
mean that's the thing though. I mean, you can know a lot of people and those people can help you out in all the ways, you know, and that's how a lot of people get ahead. But
Yeah.
if you don't have the talent, if you don't have, you know, you don't have the will to get it done and to get the job done on the spot, then it's not going to ever happen again. So I mean, that's that just says something about you as an individual, that you were actually, you know, sure, you got opportunities that other people didn't, but you were able to turn those opportunities into more opportunities afterwards,
That,
right?
there, and they would put tons of pressure on me.
I bet.
My cousin especially be like, "You got one shot. You got an hour and a half to show me you deserve to play here." I'm like, "Cool, no pressure at all." First time playing at Space, and you're telling me like you got an hour and a half to show them that you deserve to be here again, like for them to bring you back like one more time, and then you got to earn the next one and the next one. So like, they definitely didn't short out on the putting pressure on me. The most pressure they did was I went with them. They took me to play a festival, electric festival in Aruba,
Yeah.
and I had just started to play Space not too long before, and they threw me on a stage with like 4 or 5 thousand people in front of me, and I was like throwing up. I'm not gonna lie, I threw up before I even got on stage.
Wow.
I was like, okay.
and like, you know, after that though, like what does it feel like after that, stepping out of that, like for the first time playing in front of that many people and saying, wow, I
So,
fucking did that?
honestly, first 20, 30 minutes, I didn't look at the crowd. I was like, oh. And then little by little, you know, I start, you know, getting into a groove, start feeling it. And then after that, it just, I don't know, your adrenaline's like at a million. Like you're ready to run miles. Still to this day, when I play in front of a crowd with tons of energy, I'm ready to run miles. Like I don't like running, but at that point, like let's go. I'm ready to go. Let's go. Like I'm excited. I'm the energy, the adrenaline that comes off crowd is surreal. I think sometimes some artists and some, including myself, have taken it for granted at times.
Mm-hmm.
COVID definitely was like, don't take this for granted.
100%. Yeah, that's it. That must have like completely changed your outlook on like what you were doing slightly before the pandemic. Like,
Yeah. And then, yeah, so you definitely, now every time, even if it's a smaller crowd, I appreciate it. I appreciate the smaller crowds, the big crowds. I appreciate DJing at home to 30, 40 friends.
yeah,
Uh, Definitely more appreciative of, you know, playing now than I was, I think, before all this craziness happened, where you just took everything for granted because you're like, yeah, it felt like a normal thing. And it's not. It's, you got to appreciate all those little, even the little shows, not just the big festivals.
yeah,
The people that are actually dancing, and because I've had little shows that trump like a big stage, just because the energy of the crowd and that little show in that little room is superior and is more. You feel it more. It's more natural. It's more crazy, and it's
yeah.
even not bigger.
Well, sometimes in those smaller rooms too, you have more of a connection to the crowd because you're so much closer to them. At a festival, there could be thousands of people there, but you're 30, 40 feet above them, and you know, you don't feel like necessarily connected to everybody that's in the room. Like when you're in a
Yeah,
small room, there's like this, there's an energy that's feeding back and forth between the DJ and the crowd.
yeah. I love big festivals. Who doesn't?
Yeah,
I like playing in front of a huge crowd,
yeah,
but the connection in the crowd you get in a small intimate room is, to me, is second to none. The connections there, like you said, you feel connected. It's like you're all together dancing to one, like you're all one dancing to the same music and the same vibe. Whereas a festival, you're so far away that sometimes it's hard to connect with the crowd and feel that crowd. Like, so I actually love smaller rooms. I love festivals, obviously. Who doesn't want to play in front of 5,000, 4,000, 10,000 people?
yeah,
But
of
for
course.
the connection in the smaller room is special. It's always special. Uh, and I also feel like it's harder to get a crowd to engage with you in a smaller room
Yeah,
because there's not many people. So if you bore out, if you 10, 20 people get bored, you could lose the crowd in a second.
100%.
like you could quickly lose that crowd. You got to make sure you keep that crowd entertained every second, because you could lose if you lose just 20 people in 150 person group. That you could quickly start losing the crowd in a matter of 1 or 2 tracks.
Yeah,
And
you go from a full dance floor to an empty one real fast.
yeah, real fast. Where a festival, it's like 20, 50 people, 100 people get bored. You still got thousands more.
Right.
I think it's not hard. It's super difficult to play festival. It's super difficult to play. All rooms have their different vibes, different energies, different feels, different approaches. But there's something about a small room for me that just, the connection, I guess, with the crowd is just, and I like long sets.
Yeah, for sure.
I love long. I got used to it in Miami. If you live in Miami, you're used to long sets. You're not used to short sets. You're not used to the night ending early.
Right, because you can just go all night.
Yeah. So it's like they tell me like I have an hour and a half set. I'm like, scratch. Like, all right.
I'm just getting started in an hour and a half, man.
I just started feeling the music.
Right. So tell me about how you got into production. You said that you did it because you knew that was like something that was necessary, but you were a DJ first.
Yeah.
So what was that transition like? And yeah, what was that transition like?
I come from a computer background, so I have a degree in computers. So that helped out a lot, especially with modern production, which is a lot of computer based.
Right.
I guess I could Spanish background, so a lot of rhythm and grooves. But I'm gonna say it's a lot harder than people think. Best advice I give to people is classes, tutorials, go on YouTube, anything and everything that you could learn and just keep plugging away. It does take some time. You're not just going to get behind a computer first day and hey, I'm gonna make a monster track. No, it takes a lot of time, a lot of grinding, time spending, being behind the computer, doing it again and again, make another song, make another song, make another song, until you finally start finding like, all right, I'm starting to figure this out. I'm starting how to find sounds, how to create sounds, how to put sounds together, transitions. So to me, it's all about production's all about working hard. It's really about how hard you work, like how much time you're putting into. If you don't put the time, production's never gonna get better.
No, you can never do it. It can't be a part-time thing. It can't be like 1 or 2 hours every week. You got to keep at it every day.
No, you definitely have to be there constantly producing.
Yeah.
And for me, it was interesting. At first I was like, I knew how to run the programs. I caught the programs quick, so that was a benefit that I had since my computer background helped me with that.
Right.
But the whole learning transition was I enjoy producing. I love producing, especially when you start like creating melodies and it all just starts coming together and you just start getting into a flow. It's like I put my phone away, nobody talks to me or runs me along.
I love that. I love that you're like, you get lost in it, and
it's the only way you could actually. I don't think you can make music if you're on your phone or if you're constantly, doing something else.
No, no distraction.
For me, the hardest thing is I like producing alone.
Yeah.
So then, like, I have right now, one of my closest friends has a beautiful voice. She wants to make like a track. She's like, but I want to make it together. And I'm like, I like getting in my own flow. Is like, I don't know. It's like without, I don't know. It's just always been a difficult part for me, producing with other people in the room, and it's just I don't know. I get distracted easily. I get easily distracted.
I hear that. That makes sense. I mean, how does that translate to like working as a DJ though? Because I know that you've done a lot of back-to-back sets. Do you feel the same way about working together on stage, and why is it different?
I must say that's all dependent on some people you connect with, some people you don't. Some people connect musically, others you don't. It's also about some people know how to play back to back, so there's don't. It's not I'm gonna play a harder track than you, or I'm gonna play a bigger banger than you. It's all about all right. You played a banger. All right, let me bring it down a bit.
Yeah.
It's all about learning how to flow together.
Yeah.
Some artists it's worked great. Other artists it's been like almost like why are we? Why does it feel like we're fighting here?
Right. Right. Yeah, for sure.
Supposed to be one, like just help you work with each other, like not against each other, not try to show out the other.
Yeah.
So it's been great sometimes. It's actually easier than producing. For me, producing is different. Like I have to get in a different mindset. But back to backs, like I've I don't know. I've enjoyed a lot of them. There's a few that I don't want to do that again. But I've enjoyed a lot of back to back, especially when it's like a close friend, even if we have different musical
Yeah.
like styles.
That
Like
can be fun.
could be fun. Since I was at Space, one day I'd be opening for local, the next day I'd be opening for like a techno artist, for Masio. And then it's like so I really had to adjust my sets constantly every week whenever I was opening for one of those big artists. Right. So I kind of play a little bit of every subgenre and genre and the million genres we got going on now.
Yeah, yeah.
I learned how to play a little bit of everything, and I do keep everything because since I like playing I like music. Period. I do keep a little bit of everything in my USB. So it's like, all right, if we're at a pool party 4 p.m. where everyone's just getting drunk, like I'm not gonna like I love melodic music, but it's like I'm not gonna go into deep melodies.
No, it's not what people want to hear right then.
That's not what they want to hear. So
yeah.
Not what my friends want to hear, so I'm not gonna be like selfish. Be like, "No, you guys got to hear my deep melodies." And yeah, I could hear that all day,
right?
But it's all about making sure everyone's having a great time. So it's like I like having a little bit of everything. So every once in a while, I'll dive into like the other genres and get a little bit of everything without going too far to the commercial side.
For sure, for sure. Well, I got two more things for you. The first one's my last question, but the thing after that is called the speed rounds. I'm gonna ask you a bunch of quick questions. Most of them are either or, and you just answer as fast as possible.
Got it.
All right. So before that, I always like to wrap things up by asking what excites you about the future of dance music.
Oof. What excites me with the future of dance music? I'm gonna say everyone has officially become more appreciative. I feel like we're like how you had the roaring, what was it, the roaring 20s?
Yeah.
Which is right after the Great Depression.
Yeah.
Right after World War I and all these things that happened.
Yeah.
They were at a point where people spent so much time without going to clubs and festivals that people are excited and ready to like they miss it. They're gonna appreciate it more. Just as artists appreciate it more, I think fans and people are gonna appreciate concerts, festivals, music, everything so much more than they did before. So that's what excites me most about dance music moving forward. I just think everyone's gonna be more appreciative and enjoy every experience that much more after everything that happened.
Love it. Love to hear it. That was a great answer. All right. So you ready for the speed round?
Go for it.
All right. Coffee or tea?
Can I say none?
Yeah, you can say none.
None.
Biggie or Tupac?
Biggie.
Dogs or cats?
Dogs.
Pizza or sandwiches?
Pizza.
Lost Sandwichery or Publix?
What was it?
Lost Sandwichery or Publix?
I'm gonna say Publix because I don't know the other one.
Oh, it's in Miami.
Miami
Beach.
Publix because Publix has great subs, anyways.
For sure. Intimate club or venue or festival?
Woo! I must say intimate club.
All right. Rave or club?
Rave.
Snow or beach? I know this one.
Huh?
I know the answer to this one. Snow or beach? Yeah.
I live in Miami. I'm at a pool.
Right?
So beach.
Lake or ocean?
Ocean.
If you could have one superpower, would you choose flight or invisibility?
I'm gonna say flight, so I could go wherever I want.
There we go. Nice. Analog or digital?
Analog.
Would you rather swim in a pool full of Nutella or a pool full of maple syrup?
Nutella.
Ah,
I think I'll be eating.
there we go. Everyone picks that for some reason. Nobody said maple syrup yet.
I'm a chocolate. I got more chocolate in my house than almost everybody. Every chocolate. So
I love it.
that's an easy.
Drum and bass or trap?
Drum and bass.
Pop or hip hop?
Hip hop.
Favorite color?
Red.
Carl Cox or Chris Lake?
Carl Cox.
Flip flops or shoes?
Shoes.
Finish this sentence. Before I die, I want to.
Before I die, I want to see the Dolphins win a Super Bowl.
Okay. You may have to live for a long time for that. American for sure.
That one.
Guilty pleasure TV show.
Guilty pleasure TV show. I'm gonna say Lego Masters.
I love that show.
So do I.
I love that show. I watched that I watched it with the kid. I love that show. Nice answer.
I've watched without the kids and with the kids.
I love that. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for taking the time out to speak to us today. Yeah, it was really great, and I'm looking forward to that to the live stream too.
Yeah, it's there. It's ready. I've told Joy, I was like, so this live stream.
Well, I'm ready for it. Well, thank you so much.
This is probably my favorite interview I've ever done.
Really?
Yeah. I don't know.
Thank you.
It felt natural.
Well, thank you. I really appreciate that.
Felt comfortable. It didn't feel. I don't know. I enjoyed it. It was like I enjoyed the conversation. I felt like I was just having a conversation with you.
That's what I aim for, man. I really do. Like I shoot for making you feel comfortable.
Feel too robotic, too like serious. Like it's way too serious.
Yeah, I feel that.
Or do I have to act like I'm a techno person and be all serious and
Hey man, we all like to have fun, man. This is what this is all about. Dance music is about having fun. So dance music interviews should also be about having fun and enjoying the journey.
Yeah, I had someone once tell me like, oh, like you're a melodic techno DJ, you should be wearing a snapback. I'm like, I don't know the rules.
Man, if you're techno, you got to be super techno, right? Your shirt's obviously not deep enough V for you to play techno.
No, I clothes is black, but that's been like since before I was techno. Like I love black. I love black clothes.
Yeah.
I like my hat. Like I don't have my hat on now because honestly, I came out here and I was like, I left my hat.
I feel naked without this thing on. I'm gonna tell you. I
wake up and I go.
Yeah, same here. I wear this almost till I go to sleep.
So I had a girl once tell me once. I thought like you had a hat, so I thought you were like pretty bald up there, and you have beautiful hair, so I don't know why you're wearing a hat. I'm like,
I just like the hat.
It's part of me at this point.
Yeah, right. It's this.
I started the interview and I was like, damn it, I left my hat.
I feel that. If I don't have mine on, I feel so weird. So
there's things hat and this. But I don't have
chain.
I feel like this like what, something's missing here. What's missing here? But
all right, man. Well, thanks again so much. It was great talking to you.
Look forward to seeing you just keep it all in one or you edit it?
We're gonna edit it. We're gonna split things up. Like the speed round is gonna be separated, and then there's gonna be the bulk of the interview will be in one place. And what we'll do is chop up, like I'll pick out some of the best questions, some of the best answers, and we'll put those up by themselves too. So we're gonna have several pieces of content ready for it. So yeah.
I need to tell Joey like, yo, New York.
Yeah, no,
I
you should
work since Electric Zoo like 3 years ago, 2-3 years ago. I played Electric Zoo with Oro, and then I played at Output, the after party, which is the closing parties.
You're long overdue for a trip then.
I'm like, New York.
Well, we need to get you. We'll get you out there, man.
Yeah, All right, man. Thank
All
you.
right.
Forward to
Appreciate it. Have
All
a
right.
great day.
Bye.
Bye.